For those of us visiting Lithuania from Canada, parts of the US, or other northern parts of this planet, a winter in Lithuania won't be too much of a shock. However, there might be some of you out there who are used to much warmer climates, coming from India, countries in Africa, or elsewhere. Even where I'm from, on Canada's southwest coast, winters are rarely this cold. And in my relatively short time here, I've definitely picked up a few tips for surviving a Lithuanian winter. So what do you need to know? Well, let's start with safety first. Snow is a beautiful thing, especially in the countryside and cities of Lithuania. But when it's stepped on, compacted, melted slightly, and refrozen, it becomes much more of a safety risk. The first tip is to be aware of both snowy icy surfaces and the near invisible but hazardous black ice. Both of these conditions tend to happen when temperatures fluctuate between above freezing and below freezing. Snow falling on the ground usually forms a rough surface. However, if it melts into water the next day and then gets refrozen, then you'll have a much more slippery surface. The same goes for a day of cold rain followed by freezing temperatures. This is when you'll get a thin coat of ice covering sidewalks. Known as black ice, this is difficult to see but very easy to slip on. While city services will do their best to clear snow and then sand or salt sidewalks, they may not always get to your part of the city in time. The best way to prepare yourself for walking on these surfaces is to get proper footwear. I purchased these trail runners expecting to have at least some grip, but no. I've learned that there are shoes and boots out there with special soles made with rubber formulations that work better on ice. This is one option to look into. Another option is buying traction cleats to attach to your existing footwear. These can be removed when not needed, but definitely remember to take them off if you're entering somewhere that has wood flooring. The next important safety tip is to just look up. Well, when you're walking through the streets of the old town at least. That's because the steep roofs of the city can accumulate with heavy, wet snow, and this can be at risk of sliding off and falling down, injuring pedestrians below. Many building owners and tenants know the risk and set up barriers to divert people away from dangerous areas. However, not everyone does this, or even has the chance to do this in time. So, I'd recommend just looking up from time to time to assess the risk of this happening. It also helps to look down at the sidewalk below, just to see if any snow has slid down and off the rooftops, which is a good sign that more might be on the way. With those important safety tips out of the way, what are the best ways to stay warm outside? I've seen some foreigners ask in Facebook groups about the adequate amount of money needed for a warm winter jacket. Well, I can't speak to new jackets, but in Lithuania, if you're open to buying used clothing, you can get a warm winter jacket for just a couple of euros. I'm particularly proud to say that the wool coat that I use for winter was purchased at a Humana for just €1.50. It looks fine, keeps me warm, and I won't be too worried if it's stolen, lost, or somehow damaged. In addition to a good winter coat, you might want to think about long underwear, wool socks, and a beanie, or toque as Canadians would say. Gloves or mittens will also be necessary. In my opinion, mittens are warmer since the heat from all fingers is free to circulate in one big space. The fourth piece of advice is to limit your smartphone's exposure to extreme cold weather. This will help you maintain enough battery life while prolonging the overall lifetime and health of the battery. It's almost guaranteed that the smartphone you're using is powered by a lithium-ion battery. These batteries will die much quicker in cold temperatures than during warmer months. Additionally, lithium cells can't accept the same amount of charging current as they normally would when temperatures are warm. Because of this, do not charge your phone when its temperature is below freezing. Instead, warm up your device with your hands or leave it inside for a while before you start to recharge it. When you're out and about in winter weather, keep your phone in an inside pocket close to the warmest parts of your body. At the same time, try to limit how much time it's out and exposed to the cold air. This will go a long way in keeping your phone's battery healthy and holding a charge. The fifth and final piece of advice is to remain active and social, if that's what you need. The dark winter months in Lithuania can be depressing for some. The cold weather might also discourage you from going out and doing things. However, it's important to be aware of how this can impact your mental health. Take active steps to maintain your social life and physical activity, whether it's joining a gym, taking dance lessons, or taking part in a Lithuanian language practice group. For those living in Vilnius, users on the Foreigners in Vilnius Facebook group seem to post social opportunities from time to time. This is a great way to get out and make new connections. So that's it for some basic advice when living through a Lithuanian winter. Ultimately, stay warm and make sure your footwear is grippy enough to handle slippery surfaces. Subscribe if you want to know more about life in Lithuania, and if you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.